It's always disheartening when a bad person gets what they want, you know? Where it's like you see how awful they treat other people and this attitude where they genuinely think they're just better than everyone. And you'd think they would get what's coming to them, and they just never do. You know, they end up getting what they want and they learn no lessons. And they can just get away with being a horrible person because clearly they never get any consequences for doing so. And you usually see this in like customer service and maybe food service, right? Where the main motto there is, the customer is always right. And you're literally serving these people where you're trying your best to be presentable, you're being your kindest and everything, and they can just disrespect you and berate you and push you around. Like yes, you are working to give them a good experience, but sometimes these kinds of people they just don't view workers as people. People that wake up just like them, people that have a family like them, people that have a job like them. Like, it just gets so nasty. And even through all the harassment and the verbal abuse and the headache they give you, if you complain like to your boss or anyone, nothing can happen because they're the ones paying for your service, and without them the business loses money. So you just got to deal with it, and they don't get to feel bad about it at all. I've had friends that worked in the food service industry. I had this friend, she was a hostess at a restaurant. She basically just counted how many were in a party and gave them a wait time until they were seated and then walked them to their seats. Like, we know what a hostess is. And you would have these men berate her, because they were either waiting too long for a table, or their table was in a weird part of the room they didn't like, and they just wouldn't like voice like a formal complaint. Like they could easily do that. They could just pull her aside and just say, hey, you sat us underneath the vent. Could you like raise the heat a little bit or move us away from it if you can? Like, they could have easily just done that, but no, they don't do that. They would scream at her and ask her if she's stupid or how she's not fired yet, and just being disgusting. And you would have this girl crying at her boss, asking for him to do something about it, about that nasty customer. And the boss goes to the customer, and instead of, telling them like, hey, you're disrespecting my employees, you're disrespecting my business, like, cut it out or leave. Like, he doesn't do that. He instead apologizes to the customer, apologizes for the inconvenience, and offers to accommodate their request, to take care of the bill. And my friend who just got harassed and disrespected never even gets an apology from the boss, for neglecting her feelings, or some time to step out and recover and get some air. Like, no, they just throw her back in the lion's den. And this wasn't even my story. Like, this never happened to me, but when I heard it from her, it just made me so like mad at her behalf. Because like, these people, they walk around degrading people, treating people like dirt just because they make more money than them, and nothing happens. And since nothing happens, they face no repercussions for being terrible people. They think it's just okay since nobody does anything about it, and it's gross. Like, I've had patients at my job cuss me out, call me slurs, just because I tell them that their insurance denied their exam. That's not my fault. I'm not insurance, but we just can't see them. That's just policy. And I'm being apologetic. I'm telling them like, hey, sorry. Like, it's not up to me. Like, your insurance just denied you. But they would keep antagonizing me and being hateful. And they make one phone call to the insurance, and the insurance switches up because, hey, the customer is always right. Let's just make David get the crap end of the stick. And then they get seen. No issues at all. The insurance flips the switch and they're good to go. They just got to disrespect me and make me feel small, and they could still get what they want. And you can apply this to like literally anywhere else that just isn't in the customer service space. You see this a lot with celebrities. Celebrities get into these huge scandals, celebrities face court appearances, and the court of public opinion just like uncancels them and cuts them loose, and they don't learn their lesson. A lot of influencers as of late have been scamming their fans, whether that be through crypto or by other means, but they literally hide for a month and then they go back to uploading. And they didn't lose a single penny doing it, and the victims never see that money again and are just left broken. Kind people that were trusting of someone they looked up to. And I just don't get it. Like, I try to be optimistic and hope that, what goes around comes around, but being transparent, like, I like to think I do a lot of good, but I still feel like it's meaningless because I never see that in return. But I see terrible people get what they want, and they feel no remorse for just tearing others down. Especially in this landscape of like identity politics where everyone is being granted to think what they want to think as reality, and there are no wrong opinions. And I'm not like eliminating your right to think and saying that you shouldn't be able to think freely, but this mentality that it's okay to believe only in your truth and your ideology and not hear anybody from the outside out. And if you don't agree with someone, that means they are hateful, disgusting, evil, like insert whatever title you want to give someone. People just use this mentality to be so hateful to people that they don't agree with. And nothing happens to them because we gotta respect their truth when it's actively just hurting people. Like, I hope that isn't a hot take to say that's a little ridiculous. I'm sure you guys all remember the LA fires from a couple weeks ago. Like, I honestly haven't checked on it personally these past few days. I don't know if it's gotten better or if it's still going, but let me tell you, the worst place you could possibly be during that time was Twitter. Probably being in LA was worse, but other than that, Twitter was worse. Twitter had this idea that only the uber rich live in Los Angeles. So when people were posting their homes in absolute ruin, there were freaks on that website just posting stuff like, oh, are we supposed to feel bad for them? Or good, maybe they can live how we do now. Or like even worse, like, oh, they can build a new house, you know, they're not missing anything valuable. And it's like, dude, like Los Angeles is filled with real people, with real jobs, with dreams, with aspirations. You know, like you know, like not you, the person watching this, but like talking about you, evil Twitter person. And they got the stupid blue check mark too, so they're just profiting off of hate, and they think that being a terrible person is fine because they make loads of money off of impressions. And I guess for this instance, you can say I'm falling for rage bait, but my point still stands. People just aren't kind anymore. And it seems like we're living in a world where you come out on top by just being a crappy person. And that sucks. I don't really have advice. I know I've been giving that out a lot on this channel lately, but another reason I did make this channel is to just air out what I'm feeling, even if I might not have it figured out yet. Maybe there is an answer to this that I just don't know, and I'll find clarity a year from now. But right now, all I can really do is just keep being myself, keep trying to be kind, and hopefully at some point it comes back to help me with something. Thank you so much for watching, and be well.